Welcome to This Explainer. We're diving straight into some absolutely fascinating material drawn directly from the Hero Smart Academy Godly Learners series. Today, we're heading back in time to explore the vast landscape of early American economics, specifically looking at the years before 1877. But we're doing it with a real twist. We'll be taking the hard, objective facts of historical data and merging them with the profound principles of faith and biblical morality. It's a combination that truly changes how we look at the past, and more importantly, how we step up as leaders in the future.
So, think about it for a second. Can numbers actually tell the hidden stories of history? We usually picture history as this massive, boring wall of text, right? Just a bunch of dates, old names, and dusty battles to memorize. But what if I told you numbers, when you visualize them properly, actually reveal the hidden patterns and the invisible forces that truly shaped our nation? They're literally the heartbeat of history.
Which brings us to our first section, Decoding History Through Data. Let's kick things off with some incredible ancient wisdom from Proverbs chapter 1, verse 5. Let the wise listen and add to their learning. I absolutely love this because it reminds us that true wisdom isn't just knowing a bunch of random facts. It's about actively seeking out the patterns of the past so we can actually understand our present.
And, one of the absolute best tools for adding to that learning is economic data visualization. Basically, that means using charts and graphs to reveal patterns, trends, and connections that words alone just can't show. Imagine trying to read a 1,000-page spreadsheet filled with millions of tiny numbers about cotton or factory growth. You'd completely lose your mind. But when we visualize that data, all that noise transforms into one clear picture that tells us the real story. Moving right along to section 2, how to read economic charts. Okay, so there are 3 completely crucial steps here. Step 1, always read the title and labels. They are your map. Step 2, check out the time period, the units, and the scale. That's a huge one, because a scale jumping by 10 looks way different than one jumping by 1,000,000. And finally, step 3, spot the trends. Ask yourself, what's going up, what's going down, and why is it happening? So the real takeaway is this. Titles reveal the what. The trends, those rising and falling lines, they show us the change. And the numbers connect directly to real historical events. Data without context is honestly just ink on a page. But when you connect it to an event, it becomes a living record of human choices. Let's see how this works in practice in section 3, connecting data to events. Just imagine looking at a bar chart of early American cotton exports. For decades, you'd see these low, kind of flat lines. But then, right after the cotton gin is invented, boom, the line shoots straight up like a rocket. The gin let one person do the work of 50. So the data perfectly proves how a single new invention completely overhauled the economy. Or take the War of 1812. The British set up a military blockade, meaning foreign goods totally stopped arriving. That's our cause. The effect? We see a massive, undeniable spike in domestic manufacturing. Americans literally had to build their own factories just to survive. The data makes that historical cause and effect clear as day. All right, quick homework check straight from the lesson before we move forward. What's the very first thing you look for on a chart? Why does scale matter so much? Can you name an event that changed the data? How do graphs connect cause and effect? And why read both the numbers and the titles? Take a mental pause and test yourself on these, for sure.
Now, let's shift gears a bit for section 4, the call to biblical stewardship. We're transitioning from the hard data to something just as important, morality and how early Americans actually used their resources. 1 Peter 4, verse 10 says, "Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms." It's a profound reminder that whether we have money, land, or talents, they are a sacred trust meant to bless others. When we look back at the historical data through this moral lens, the contrast is stark. On one hand, forgetting God leads straight to exploitation and greed, like the plantation economy, which the source material rightly points out was built entirely on the heartbreaking sin of slavery. On the flip side, we see faithful stewardship, small farming and trade networks that actually built up fairness, dignity, and peace in their communities. Now, as an 8th grader and a future leader, you might be thinking, well, I don't own a factory yet. But God has given you incredible gifts right now. Your time, your skills, your energy. So you've really got to ask yourself, am I using what I have to help others, or am I only in it for myself? Which perfectly sets up our final section, section 5, education fused with morality. The main idea here from the Heroes Mart series is literally a game changer. Education without morality will hurt. Think about it. What is the point of being a total genius at reading complex charts if you just use that knowledge to make immoral choices that exploit people? Intelligence without a moral compass is incredibly destructive. But when you fuse your education with those biblical principles, that's where Romans chapter 8, verses 6 through 7 comes in, promising peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. It brings real clarity and lasting purpose to everything you do. You aren't just memorizing facts to pass a test, you're learning to navigate the whole world wisely.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this one massive question. You know how to read the data now. You can see the historical results of greed versus stewardship. So will you use your education just to get ahead for yourself, or will you use it to become a faithful steward of truth who transforms their world? The data and the choices are in your hands now. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and we'll catch you in the next one.